Nawah, personal protective equipment. As workers, contractors, or visitors at Nawah, you will come in contact with areas, equipment, and materials that are potentially dangerous. Management shall ensure adequate personal protective equipment, PPE, is provided for all employees at Nawah, as necessary to control risk of injury to any person on site. PPE is not intended to be utilized in lieu of, but rather to augment the other hazard elimination or mitigation strategies. That is, elimination, substitution, engineering controls, and administrative controls. But as a last defense, personal protective equipment shall be used. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is any form of clothing or wearable gear that is used to prevent injury. The following video will address the types of PPE and rules and regulations that come with them. All personnel at Nawah are required to use PPE according to instructions and training received. Verify that prescribed PPE is adequate to protect against identified hazards. Ensure PPE is correctly worn and fits properly. Seek assistance from a supervisor, and if necessary, Health and Safety, H&S, if there are any questions about use of PPE or hazards in the work environment. Inspect PPE before use. Suits, gloves, and boots shall be free of holes, cuts, and tears. Inform supervision whenever any conditions or circumstances exist that would prohibit the wearing of PPE. Leave the work area if an item of PPE malfunction occurs, and report to the appropriate supervisor. Report any medical conditions that might impede the ability to wear PPE or to work safely in the environment. Remove the service PPE, hard hat, safety glasses, and safety shoes that has sustained an impact with the potential to damage the PPE. Types of PPE. There are several different types of PPE that are used at Nawah, and they can be divided into two groups, basic and special. Basic PPE is equipment that all personnel should have and wear in industrial areas, such as safety goggles, working gloves, body protection that is full-legged trousers, hard hats, safety shoes, O2 monitors, chin straps as per signs posted or when JHA requires it. Special PPE is equipment needed for specific areas or tasks and should be identified in the Job Hazard Analysis (JHA) document done by the supervisor. Special PPE may include hazmat suits for chemical work, anti-contamination clothing, apron and face shield, gas masks and other respiratory equipment, O2 monitors. For a more in-depth look at different PPE and the requirements and materials needed, please look at the HNS PRC 0071 Personal Protective Equipment. Planning PPE. Access the task and risks involved is the first step of any successful operation at Nawah. Likewise, it will give you a better understanding of what PPE should be worn to complete the work safely. Follow PPE requirements specified by procedures within work permits or signs and posted. When required, a job hazard analysis sheet should be filled in by the job supervisor to identify the hazards and required PPE. Conduct a job hazard analysis, JHA, as necessary to identify hazards associated with the work to be performed and to identify hazards in the work environment. During the assessment, the following types of potential hazards should be considered for PPE: impact, penetration, compression, chemical, heat, harmful dust. Consult the H&S professional if a job requiring the removal or exclusion of otherwise compulsory PPE is required. A PPE exemption request form must be completed beforehand. Please respect the rules around PPE. Understand and maintain your PPE. And most of all, use your PPE to ensure your safety.